President Trump made a staggering $2.4 billion last year, according to a new report by our next guest, who went through tons of documents, Trump's financial records, and found that Trump made nearly as much money in 2025 as he made in all 4 years of his first term combined. Dan, just walk me through how you get to this number of $2.4 billion for a sitting president in 1 year.
Well, the starting point is Donald Trump's own financial disclosure report, which he submitted a couple of weeks ago. Now, the problem with that document is that it's not made for somebody as rich as Donald Trump. So the income ranges are listed in millions of dollar ranges. And then there's also a category that's just anything over $5 million. Well, Donald Trump has a lot of things that make over $5 million. And so what we did is we went and looked at court records and bond filings and SEC filings and layered those on top of the financial disclosure report to pinpoint exactly how much money he made in 2025, which was $2.4 billion. And then we went back and looked starting in 2016 and drawing it over that whole timeline and seeing just how dramatically the rise was last year.
I mean, it's a staggering number. All right. Now, Trump was recently asked about the money, how much money he's making. And he actually, I mean, you can look at the annual earnings here. I'm just putting it up here, all of your work from 2017 on, Dan. But Trump gets asked, hey, last year, in the context of all reporting on potentially corrupt dealings, how did you make the money? Here's what he said.
You know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting.
Okay, Dan, so how much of that $2.4 billion last year was because the stock market went up?
$0. Donald Trump made a lot of stock trades, but that's not what we're counting here, nor is it what anybody was counting a couple of weeks ago. What we're looking at is what are the operating revenues of his business, and then what are the proceeds from asset sales that he has made, not stocks, but actual hard assets. You add all of that up, and you get to $2.4 billion. It has nothing to do with the stock market.
The president's social media company today said it will be selling quicker access to posts, including the president's, to Wall Street. All the better and faster to turn whatever he says online into money. Truth Social says companies will be able to read items from the service's top 10 accounts, quote, within milliseconds of the poster hitting send, and then trade on them. The president, as you know, has nearly 13 million followers. That announcement coming the same day as a CNN exclusive, which found Trump praised more than 20 companies on his Truth Social account just days after he bought stock in those companies. Companies including the major chip maker NVIDIA, Boeing, and Apple. Here's CNN's Tom Foreman.
My jeans are blue.
3 social media posts by President Trump about a clothing company. Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. About a computer chip giant building new AI assets. All necessary permits will be expedited and quickly delivered. And about a plane with components from several large defense contractors. The greatest and most beautiful fighter jet ever made. Pure boosterism? Maybe. But revelations from a new CNN investigation have watchdog groups alarmed because each of those positive posts came just days after some of Trump's own money was invested in those firms, raising eyebrows over his role regulating American business.
Is he negotiating on what's best for the American people, or is he negotiating what's best for him and his family?
CNN found the president promoted more than 20 companies through Truth Social posts soon after he became invested in them. He got stock in GE Aerospace, Eli Lilly, and Apple, and shared good words for them. He's racked up numerous investments in Tesla, some just days before he appeared with CEO Elon Musk admiring the electric cars at the White House. Does any of this prove the billionaire president is promoting his own investments, or that any of these businesses did anything wrong? No, but worry over possible conflicts of interest remains.
Nobody really knows exactly why President Trump's stock holdings have tripled or quadrupled in the last year. But there are inferences that you can draw that are not very pretty.
The White House says there are no conflicts of interest. The Trump Organization says neither President Trump, his family, nor the Trump Organization plays any role in selecting, directing, or approving specific investments, which are handled by outside firms which give no advance notice of trading activity. So it's not clear whether Trump was aware of any of his purchases when he was posting about the companies. But every other president for 50 years has sold assets, put stocks into blind trust, switched to widely diversified mutual funds where they can't know what investments they hold. It's not the law, but it has been the norm.
We expected a president to go to great lengths to try to avoid even the appearance of any kind of impropriety or any conflicts of interest.
To be clear, more than 21,000 transactions were made in Trump's name in 2025 alone. He did not remark on all of them. He's always held big stakes in business, and sometimes he posts negative comments. He invested in the cable company Comcast, then ripped its news channels, calling it Concast. Still, for however much that might muddy the water, critics say this remains clear. The president appears to be straddling a very thin line between his politics and his pocket. John?
Tom Foreman, thank you very much. Joining me now to discuss the former federal prosecutor, Jeffrey Toobin. Jeff, you heard the reporting there as he went through it. Ethical questions, legal questions, what do we raise here?
Well, there's certainly ethical questions. Legal questions, I don't think so. I mean, as the CNN report pointed out, every other recent president has had his assets in a blind trust where there is really no way the president can know what he's invested in. Trump has not done that, and this is why his family and his own assets have exploded in the past couple of years, largely because of his investments in the crypto business, which his administration is very actively promoting. In terms of the stock, again, it's not clear exactly how the process works. The administration says he doesn't know when the investments are made, but he knows now. And he knows whether his words can help the companies he's invested in. This is why other presidents have operated differently, but President Trump has operated outside scrutiny, and there hasn't been any so far, at least from Congress.
Operated differently because that was the norm, because that was the advice they get from White House counsel or ethics advisors, but there's no law requiring the president to do that, to put assets in a blind trust. Why not?
Because there is a separation of powers issue of how much Congress can tell the president what to do in terms of his personal conduct. But most presidents want to be seen as above suspicion. I mean, it has not been controversial in the past. All those recent presidents of both political parties have put their money in blind trust because they want to be seen as ethically clean. Trump has very clearly said, my family is going to continue my business. And particularly in the second term, they've been actively investing in companies that the government has a great deal of interest in. I should add that as far as I can tell, there is no legal question here in terms of criminal law. There is no insider trading evidence that I can see. That would take the president intentionally puffing up a stock that he knows is going to go up. And as suspicious as this evidence is, nothing I've seen suggests that the president has committed a crime.
Now, a CNN investigation has found that an investment firm where Donald Trump Jr. is a partner has skyrocketed during his father's presidency. And there's been a jump in federal contracts given to companies the firm invests in. CNN senior investigative producer Kurt Devine joins us now with the latest. Kurt, what have you found?
Good morning. Right. So Trump Jr. announced he joined that firm, 1789 Capital, days after his father's reelection in 2024. And since that time, assets the firm manages have more than tripled. So they've grown from less than $1 billion to what its leaders say is more than $3 billion today. And we found that 10 businesses the firm invested in have been awarded more than $1.6 billion from federal contracts and grants. And so in under 2 years, they got more during President Joe Biden's full term. And that's also not counting more than $1 billion in federal money that may go to other startups the firm has invested in.
And so how has Trump Jr. talked about the firm?
Right. When asked why people should invest with 1789 Capital, Trump Jr. said this last year at a business forum.
We understand what the administration wants to do because we help craft some of that messaging. So we can be on the outside but still have that understanding of what they plan to do.
So just to be clear, is there any connection between the president's son and these contracts?
To be clear, we have seen nothing that shows 1789 has tried to influence federal contracts, and other funds like this have invested in some of these same companies. But government watchdogs still say this trend raises questions because taxpayer dollars are boosting companies that the firm has invested in. I asked Donald Trump Jr.'s spokesman about all this, and he sent a statement saying Don does not interface with the federal government as part of his role with any company that he invests in or advises. We also got a statement from an attorney for 1789 Capital. He said the firm has done nothing with respect to these private companies other than making the same smart investments as other well-respected funds and investors. And the White House, a spokeswoman there, said there are no conflicts of interest.